Let's go Mets. Let's go Mets. Let's go Mets. Yeah.
You gotta believe and invest with your heart. Orange and blue till Mets do us part. Spring training, oh yes, it's the start. City Field gritty till Mets do us part. Hit home runs and knock it out the park. Big Apple till Mets do us part. You gotta believe and invest with your heart. Listen to the show till Mets do us part. John from Brooklyn, Ibby reps NJ. With the other team, I don't care what your friends say. Mets fans, we focus like a sensei. Listen to the podcast Monday, Wednesday. Made a couple bad plays, but we still won. Character, yup, we're gonna build some. Are you gonna check the pod? Is real fun. Just like Mookie, I will, son. So invest with your heart. Orange and blue till Mets do us part. Spring training, oh yes, it's the start. City Field gritty till Mets do us part. Hit home runs and knock it out the park. Big Apple till Mets do us part. You gotta believe and invest with your heart. Listen to the show.
Available now on all streaming platforms. If you love the New York Mets, check out Till Mets Do Us Part. Enough rapping. Let's get to yapping.
What is up, Mets fans? Matt Ibanez here, a.k.a. Ibby. Till Mets Do Us Part, checking in with you live, 7:38 Eastern Standard on a Sunday night, post-game NLDS Game 2, and what a wild one it was. And we're going to talk about it for a little bit. I don't know how long I'm going to be on here today, but I just had to make sure I got some of this energy out of me because that was an incredible game. And obviously, our New York Metropolitans ended up on the wrong side of the outcome, but we're going to talk all about it and, talk about some things that may have bothered us and just this overall team in general. And now this series, now that it is tied 1-1 heading back to City, as the Met faithful will be getting more baseball in their home ballpark. But before we get into all that, we got 50 people here so far. I have no idea how many are going to show up today. I did this on a whim very quickly. I made a room this afternoon. Wasn't even sure if I was going to do this. And then this game happens. I'm just like, I got to say a couple of things. I took some notes during the game. I just wanted to talk about it with some of you guys that decide to be here with me to just, again, cool off, if you will. But again, shout out to the 50 that are here right now. Hopefully that number continues to grow. Shout out to the ones that are here with me that are the regulars. Good to see you, Steph. Good to see you, Armand. Good to see you, Carlos Ortiz. Good to see you, Brad, and the rest that might filter in throughout the show. And, I wish I knew exactly where I wanted to start with all of this. Obviously, we could open with how the game ended. We can open about the back half of the game, but at the same time, I do think that we have to hit on some of the things that did occur throughout the game. And shout out to Sevy. I know it didn't end up going the way we thought it was based off of how things were going to start, but shout out to him. He was going 6 strong, and then at that one inning, it comes unraveled at the worst possible time. But before that, the guy was cruising. There was nothing to really talk about in that sense. And, we obviously, he was providing something, protecting the bullpen, going out there, pitching a hell of a game. Gives up 3 runs, but all in all, it was still a good outing. But what it could have been so much more if we just, you don't get too much plate, like right on the tee for Harper to make it 3-2, and then you don't collect yourself. You give it the back-to-back with Castellanos to make it 3-3. And, of course, shout out to how we got there to begin with. Vientos to start the game off, 2-0 for us. And then Alonso, hitting the homer that he does to make it 3. So, obviously shout out to them for starting things off the way that they did. But, yeah, it's just very frustrating. I think to a lot of Harper at-bats today, and there's a reason why he's on the cover. It's the reason why the cover of this thumbnail. There's a reason why the Mets are pitching him the way they have been pitching him. And, it's not so much scared of a player. It's more so respecting a player and being careful with a player because you know exactly what he can do in a big spot. So, they were very careful and protective about how they were going to attack him in a lot of those at-bats. And I think to that Severino one, he just grooved one that got way too much plate right on a tee. And the way Harper swings, he's going to get some lift to the ball, and that ball goes. There's nothing you can do about it, but it's bad overall placement. But, shout out to the team bouncing back. And I think a lot of us know what this team is capable of in terms of coming back, but the people who don't know this team are seeing the comeback nature. The numbers speak for themselves when this team enters the 7th, 8th, and 9th inning, how those numbers are here while the numbers through the 1st through 6th are like down here. So this team turns it on late, understands pressure, and can handle it from the offensive side. The Heat got a little bit turned up on the pitching today, which we're going to talk about in a moment. But, continuing the breakdown of how this game went, Nimmo comes up the next inning, puts one out, pulls one out to bring it back to 4-3, while also jawing with the Phillies dugout. I don't know what was said. I'm sure we might get an idea as to what was said. I did hear him say Sanchez. Maybe Sanchez was saying something from the dugout. I don't know, but it seemed like it was something with him and JT. Either way, I like that Nimmo has some attitude to him, especially in big moments like this, because you have to. It's the playoffs. Tempers are going to flare. Things are going to be said, but it's good to see him, stepping out of his comfort, if you will, stepping out of that shell of his when it comes to just being the happy-go-lucky, smiley guy. No, he's got that beard growing in. He's got a little bit of grit to him at the moment. So seeing him jaw jack a little bit with the Phils was nice to see, especially on the heels of them tying the game. He comes right back and silences the crowd to take that 4-3 lead. And I'm going to continue with this overall breakdown because now we're getting into the area where the game went from, we were at like a 75, like here, and then it went to like 150. Like that's where this game went, once we entered the 7th inning. And that's when things really started to get extremely interesting on both sides. But before I get into all that, I want to make sure that I get into the chat and see what's going on with the people that are here. And of course, I appreciate all 80 of you that are here, and I appreciate Steph, Brad, and Armand providing the energy so far in the chat, which I'm going to get into in a moment. And I see Rosie K just entered the chat as well. Shout out to you, Rosie. Good to see you here. I know I said before, I did this on a whim, and I appreciate those that are here so far as we're climbing to 84 and climbing higher and higher. So shout out to all of you. If it's your first time here, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel. Til Mets Do Us Part. We're usually here every single Wednesday, but because of our schedules, John's in Australia. He might jump in. I think he's probably working right now, so he probably won't. But I'm jumping on whenever I can. My schedule's been very hectic. A lot of things going on. So we're probably not going to be in our normal Wednesday spot this week coming. We might be on Tuesday. We might be on Thursday. We're not sure yet, but I will keep you posted on all of that. But just looking at some of the comments, Brad, so close to being up 2-0. City Field will be amazing on Tuesday. I agree. Steph coming in saying I was good with splitting in Philly until I saw how ugly the Philly fans are. Then I'm like, sweep them. Look, this team was on the cusp of how things were going, but it's never proper to assume anything in a playoff series. It's playoff baseball. This Phillies team is battle tested. They've been here before. They're an extremely veteran laden team. They know what it takes to win. They know what it takes to be in that position, in that spot. So it was never going to be easy. I said from the jump I would sign up for a split in Philly. I thought you had to get at least one game in Philly to have a legitimate shot. Am I upset that we could have been up 2-0? Yeah, sure. But again, it comes down to execution. If you don't execute in October, you don't win. And the Mets, they executed game 1. Game 2, there was parts where we didn't execute. I just mentioned before, Severino leaving the ball on the tee for Harper to make it 3-2. Then not collecting himself. Next pitch, Castellanos goes deep, 3-3. So, little things like that go a long way. And we're going to talk about the back end here about how things were, again, not executed properly. And if you're going to have these little warts here and there during October baseball, it makes things that much more difficult to win because the team you're facing on the other side, they know what they're doing. They know exactly how to handle themselves when it comes to October. Checking in again, Rosie coming in saying that the Mets should not have lost that game. Look, we're going to talk about the back end in a moment. And I agree with you. They shouldn't have lost. But again, you have to execute. You have to execute. Steph saying that she still feels good about this. I do too. My confidence isn't waning. I don't feel down. I think City's going to be red hot on Tuesday, as it should be. I think the Met fan knows what this team is capable of. And we saw that at the back end of this game from the offensive perspective. This team does not say die. They will keep coming and coming and coming. And they're going to keep going. So there's no reason for anybody to feel down. Is it a gut punch? Yes, but you're in a 12-round fight. You're in a legit fight right now with one of the best teams in the National League. Really, one of the best teams in baseball this year. It was never going to be simple. Never going to be simple. So the fact that you are handling yourselves to this point, you should be proud. But I'm not saying rest on your laurels. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying go easy. I'm not saying rest on anything. This team knows the fight that they're in, and they know that they can hang. It just didn't come down. They didn't get the opportunity to go last today. That's really what it comes down to. The team. Shout out to Mark Caesar, who's a member of my of the Til Mets Do Us Part Facebook group. He just said it in the Facebook right before. Unfortunately, and I'm quoting him here, he goes, unfortunately, the last team that was going to hit was going to win. Bottom of the ninth, last team up, like they had their, and they win. They walk it off. Sucks. Okay. But I do want to talk about the back end here in a moment. I still want to work through the chat a little bit more. Rosie coming in saying that Sevy, bad pitches really hurt them, but the number of games Diaz has blown is extremely concerning. I'm going to talk about Diaz in a moment, and Mendy's call to bring him in the 7th, and then obviously what had happened in the 8th. We're going to talk about that in a minute. So I'm glad that you brought it up. Armand saying that I do think if Rob Thompson, Captain Sanchez, does Pete hit that home run, it's possible. Again, that's why you come out, you pull them, things like that. I will say that I thought, and I was talking with Aunt Rivera, somebody Shay. I was talking with my friends that often in the group or in this chat as well, that being Rube and TJ. And we were saying how, the way that Sanchez was throwing, at the start of this game, we were like, man, I just like going from Wheeler to Sanchez. I thought it was an extreme advantage for the Mets. It was, they didn't have to pick up their bat speed. It was almost as if they were given a gift of someone throwing softer. And I thought they were getting some really good swings on the ball. Unfortunately, it didn't translate to more offense. I thought it would. They got to 3 runs, but I really thought that this offense would have done a lot more damage against Sanchez. So shout out to him for controlling the game the way that he did and controlling, I should say, holding the offense of the Mets to only 3 runs. But I really thought that, this team was going to be able to, really hammer him, and it didn't end up going that way. And unfortunately, it comes back to hurt just because you needed more than the 6 runs that the team actually ended up getting. If you don't mind, I have to grab a quick drink here because I am talking a lot. But continuing the chat, Rosie, don't think that McGill is cut out for those situations. I have my thoughts on that as well. I'm going to get to that in a moment. The turn of the game was Vientos' bobble to let that 6th run score. I'm going to talk about that in a minute as well. I have some notes on that. But, Brad, Buto is struggling. I got thoughts on Buto. Mets called in Diaz too early. We're going to talk about that 7th inning right now. We're going to talk about that 7th inning as I'm caught up in the chat. So I'm going to leave this one up, Stanley. And shout out to you for being here. I appreciate you, brother. Thank you for coming here and supporting as always. 105 of you are in the room right now. Love all of you. A lot of you are on the X side, and I appreciate you. Those of you that are on the YouTube side, please make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Like the video, sub the channel. We're growing every week. We appreciate you. Every single Wednesday we are live, 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard. But the playoffs and scheduling on both of my and John's end is a little bit off lately. So basically we're popping on when we can pop on. So we know that the numbers are going to be a little bit off, and that's okay. But just wanted to make sure I got something out there during this series in the case that I wouldn't be able to. So shout out to the 108 of you that are here right now, rocking with me. But we get to that 7th. Diaz comes in for Schwarber. And it was the right call. 1000% the right call. Huge spot. I am always a fan of allowing your best pitcher in the biggest moment of a game. And managers know when the biggest moment of a game is. And that was a huge moment. And the numbers that Schwarber has against Diaz are far from ideal. And that being for Schwarber, like he hasn't touched him. So going to him was the right call. That pitch, he makes it. He can't hold, gets the strikeout, gets out of it. Now, everyone was saying, and I thought Jeff Passan's tweet, I thought it was forward at the time when he said that Mendoza's going to his closer for a 7-out save. And I said this in my chat. I think I did, or I said it to somebody. I said that I thought Diaz coming in for Schwarber was right. I thought Diaz pitching the 8th for Turner, Harper, Castellanos was the right call. But I never thought he was going to send him out there for the 9th as well. I didn't. I didn't think he was going to go out there for the 9th because I thought at that point it would have been too many pitches. The amount that he's been used to that point and the fact that you had McGill on the back end, I really thought that his plan was Diaz for the 7th, Diaz for the 8th, and that if it allowed him to, based off of the score, he would have went to McGill to close it. I thought that that's what he was going to do, but obviously that's not how things ended up shaking out. We end up getting to the 8th. Diaz struggles as he has with some control. The walks, they don't help. Guys getting on. Stott rips the 2-run triple, makes it 5-4, turns the game on its head, and really puts the Phils back in the driver's seat, gets the crowd back involved. They're feeding off the energy. Flip the game for the Phils. Then McGill comes in, and to the point that, where was it? It was just brought up. Carlos saying how the turn of the game was the Vientos bobble to let the 6th run score. On a ball like that, 1 out, guy on 3rd, you're up a run. I'm sorry, you're down a run. I understand that you want to try and cut the run off to keep it at 1 run, but it is always ball dependent. Ball dependent, meaning if that ball is hit hard and that guy's breaking home, you cut the run off. 1000% you cut the run off. But the way that ball was hit, and I know Stott's not a burner, but he's got enough speed. That is too hard. Even if he fields that cleanly and throws, the catch, the tag, it's way too bang bang. For me, I would have gotten the out. I would have tried to just get the out at first. Now, it didn't, like the way I'm describing it, it ended up happening that way anyway. So I know the bobble to let that 6-run score. And maybe I gotta look at the replay again. Maybe he could have had him out if he fielded it cleanly, but I thought it would have been too close and bang bang anyway. That's why I was screaming to get the out, because you can't allow them to get extra outs in innings like that. Otherwise things compile. He ended up working out of it, so it didn't matter. So in my scenario, the run ended up still scoring because I thought it would have been too close. But maybe if I check the replay again, maybe things would have been different if he did field it like 100% cleanly. But the ball, in my opinion, just wasn't hit hard enough to really try to make that play. And I thought that even if he does field it cleanly, I think it still might have been too close at the plate. But that's my thoughts really as I'm thinking about them as they were going on, in that 8th inning, and obviously realizing that that the game had flipped, being down 2 when the majority of the game you were up 3. I'm gonna get back to the chat in a moment. I just really need to take another sip here. So, staying respectful to the chat. Shout out to the 117 of you that are here right now. I'm going to do my best to navigate the chat as well as things are going on. Armand saying it's just the tip of the cap to Castellanos and the Phils. I'll mention that in a moment. I will. Let's see. What else do we have here? Talking about the Diaz and Schwarber at bat. Schwarber was 0 for 5 with 5 whips leading up to that bat. It was the right call to put him in that spot. It was. It was the right call there. And I'm not sure what you were agreeing with, Armand, but I appreciate it. Whichever part of the conversation you were agreeing with, thank you. But you get to that ninth inning. You get to the ninth, and you have it where Francisco Lindor. First of all, Harrison Bader. Harrison Bader, I was curious about getting that at bat. I was, but Taylor had been struggling too. So if you just wanted to stay with Bader, I get it, because it's not as if Taylor has been providing that much for you anyway. But if they wanted to, like, I could have gotten behind it, but they stay with Bader, he strikes out. Then you get to Lindor. And Lindor is the unsung hero in this entire scenario of how things had gone. And he has a really good at bat, goes with the pitch, base knock up the middle, sets the stage for Mark Vientos. And I and my wife can attest, because she's sitting next to me, not here, not right now, but like she was sitting next to me. And I was breaking down that entire Strom versus Vientos at bat, pitch for pitch. I was on fire calling these pitches. And when it got to 2-2, I said, he's going to throw another breaking ball. He's going to hope that you chase it. Don't swing. 'Cause I don't think he's going to put anything in the zone. And he didn't. And then AJ Pierzynski's talking on the broadcast. And I respect AJ. I do. And I have my thoughts on this entire broadcast, if you will, because I do have some feelings on that as well. AJ's talking about, does he throw a breaking ball here? Because he could. And I had said, there's no way that Strom was going to throw Vientos another breaking ball at the risk of A, hanging one, or B, putting him on, thus putting the go-ahead run up at the plate. That was never going to happen, especially when you had Nimmo, Alonso. Like, there was no way that they were going to run that. So I said, the pitch here that's coming is going to be a fastball up. He's going to try to put something by you up in the zone. He's going to go up the ladder, and he didn't go far enough up that ladder. Vientos turns on it. Unbelievable shot. Unbelievable moment. And I see some of the comments. I'll get to you in a second, Rube. And puts it out to tie the game, 6-6. Now, Mets fans are feeling it right now, as they should have. We were all feeling as though like the destiny, everything comes up Mets in the ninth. This is great. Nimmo flies out. Nothing for Pete. Inning over. We get to the ninth. And how they decided to attack the entire thing. And, I understood. Actually, no, I didn't understand why he was so iffy. Like, it really felt like McGill was nibbling with Turner, and that was really pissing me off. How he was just constantly nibbling with him to eventually put him on. Like, he didn't throw him a strike. And then the Harper at bat happens, and I thought he was doing well. Puts him on. And I was saying, when it came to Castellanos, you had an opportunity to put him away. And first of all, I thought it was ballsy for him to start him with a splitter on the outside corner, because Castellanos has been dominating when it comes to the outside pitch and flicking the ball out into the outfield to right field. And I thought that if you throw that pitch there and he hits it, the game's over. It's base knock, Turner scoring. So ballsy to start with the splitter there. But you're working the count well, and you get it to 2-2. And I'm screaming at the TV, saying how you need to you do not have to throw a strike here. And on the 1-2, like, I'm talking to the TV like a psychotic person, like all of us were. And I'm saying, you don't have to throw a strike here. Do not throw a strike. Bury something. And he did. Buries it. 2-2. Again, you're still up. It's a 2-2 count. You don't have to throw a strike. You don't. Whether you want to throw something that dives in, at him, like, inside but low, or if you wanted to bury something that was like a splitter away and bury it to bring it to 3-2, I would because you didn't have to stay in the zone here. You didn't. And if you did, it was going to be a mistake. And then sure enough, he hangs one that got way too much plate. And Castellanos, who's someone that's been going to the opposite field predominantly for a while now, gets a giant beach ball served up on a platter, and he pulls it, and he wins the game. You tip, like Armand said, like, you want to tip your cap? You can tip your cap if you want. But for that one, like, I'm mad. I'm mad because you can't throw that pitch. You can't. Like, that's the one spot. You can't throw that pitch. And Rosie here saying McGill nibbles quite a bit and has a really difficult time putting people away. And I had said that as my wife pretended to listen to me as I was talking to the TV. When Harper came up, I was screaming and I was saying how, this at bat is difficult because, like, when Mendoza came out, I was like, this is a very difficult at bat because McGill doesn't have the type of stuff that was going to put someone like Harper away. Better fastball dominant with heat. I didn't think that it was going to be able to put Harper away. So by doing something like that, I didn't think that, he was really going to go after Harper the way that many people thought that he might. So he was put into a very tough spot there because of the stuff. And if anyone in the chat can correct me if I'm wrong, but was anybody, because they didn't show anybody, was anybody warming in the bullpen during the ninth at all? I don't know if there was because they didn't show anything, but I am curious on that specifically because of, McGill or Mendoza coming out to talk with McGill in that spot. Now that might have just been like a go get him. But I don't think anyone was prepared. So it was like, we're winning and dying with Tyler. Like, that's basically the approach that was given. And obviously we died. We did not win. We died. Yeah. All right. So Brad confirming it. Nope. It was McGill's inning. Okay. Steph with a good joke here. Ibby, why would they show that on a Phillies broadcast? Look, I do want to hit on that real quick. It shouldn't bother me. It shouldn't bother us. But I guess it's because we're spoiled when it comes to Gary, Keith, and Ron, Gelbs, and the whole crew and SNY, that they are very much, yes, they represent the Mets, but they tell the story properly. They call out the Mets when it's needed. They call out for the right baseball play to be made. They call out for the proper things for both sides. So when I see, a Vientos home run barely get a reaction, when I see an Alonso home run get barely in a reaction, but then Harper hits a home run and it's like the place comes unglued. And I mean, not the stadium. I'm talking about the booth coming unglued. And then I have, Vientos with an incredible home run for a kid that young to have these numbers that he's having in the postseason, like what he's doing. Like, that's a story, but it barely gets the reaction you think it would. Castellanos making a sliding catch gets a bigger pop from them. And then, of course, the Phils walk it off, and it's like the entire place, can't be happier. I understand a Phillies fan being happy, but I didn't expect there to be Phillies fans in the booth on that one. So I thought, I don't know his name, whatever his name was, the lead guy. I know AJ, Pierzynski and Wainwright were in there, but I don't, Arwin, something, whatever the fuck his name was. I wasn't the biggest fan of him for that one because I thought it could have been a little bit better in that sense. So Steph coming in saying, because that's my huge complaint as a former journalist, there's no equal treatment. As pros, they should do what Gary does. Yeah. Carlos saying FS1 announcers are Phillies fans. Look, I don't want to turn this into we're like a we're hating on everything or anything like that, because it's not. It was a fantastic game. I hate that we lost. There we go. Thank you, Brad. Adam Armin. Adam Armin. Adam Armpit. We'll go with that one. Adam Armpit. That's his name. But yeah, like, it wasn't for me. But then again, I don't care for anyone really besides my booth. But Stanley coming in and saying the Mets offense did their jobs. They did. They did their jobs. They fought everything that they could. I thought, but like I said before, I thought they would have done a lot more damage against Sanchez. I thought they would have, and they didn't. And, maybe if they were able to, punch across some more runs early in the game, it's a different story. But it is what it is. This series is tied 1-1. And, it was never going to be a cakewalk. Never. I know it's frustrating as a fan to sit there while this is all going on and you're thinking, oh my God, we could be going up 2-0, taking 2 in Philly is huge to go back home and you only got to win one of them. So it makes things more interesting. It makes things more difficult. But again, this is October baseball. Never easy. Never simple. Just like it's never simple for me to simply put the banner like I'm supposed to on the bottom there. So apologies on that. Makes me look like I'm unprofessional, but sorry about that. So, Steph coming with Sanchez, or Vientos was 0-for-7 against Sanchez until today. It's a good time to bring it out. Mark Vientos has done so much for this team. There's not much. I understand, Rosie. I get it. It's not about the cakewalk. It's about losing games they should have won. Can't blow games like that. I understand. I do. Again, I was saying to start the show, you have to execute in these games in order to win. And yes, I'm frustrated because this team should have won this game. They could have, but they couldn't execute. It's really what it comes down to. They weren't able to execute on the back end. And you want to blame Diaz for that? You want to blame Mendy for bringing in Diaz? You want to complain about you want to put it on Diaz not being able to locate better? We can't scrape over the fact that Diaz has thrown a lot of pitches in this last week. A lot of pitches. So you wonder how much he has. Is that why he can't find the zone? Like, he was a little shaky prior to this entire week too, but is that part of it as well? And then, like you said before, putting McGill in that closing spot, even though I said I thought that that's the route that they were choosing to go, especially if he was able to work out of that eighth. I did not think Diaz was going out for the ninth. I thought that their plan was to go with, McGill, see what he can do, and maybe have someone behind him. But clearly, once we got there as a tie, there was nobody warming. So the plan was to give him the inning by himself, no matter what, in a tie game. But I never thought that they were going to put him out there for the final three, that being Diaz. I didn't think they were going to do that. But it sucks. I know it does. It sucks that they lost this game. But, there's nothing you can do now. Nothing you can do. It's 1-1. You're going back home. You got to handle business. It's Nola, Manaea, game 3. Tuesday. Place has got to be filled. Better be filled. Better be loud. Better be ready. Because Nola's no walk in the park. I think the Mets can hit him, but the plan from Thompson ends up working out. We as a team bailed them out on that one because the whole idea was to throw Sanchez at home because they want to play the numbers and say he's better at home, but I also think it's because he didn't want to put a young kid out in a crazy Citi Field setting in New York for a playoff game 3. And you trust Nola more with that. Was interesting that he still went that out after they lost game 1, but his plan ends up working, and he gets Nola for game 3 in a big spot against Manaea. So I expect Nola to come out firing, be pumped up, and do everything he can to control that Citi Field faithful. But you got Manaea on the bump, and it's not going to be an easy one. It's not. I think that Nola is hittable. I don't think Nola is that. I'm not saying he's not that good. I'm going to say that Aaron Nola is not Zach Wheeler, so it's not as if you're facing that. But Aaron Nola has had success against this Mets team for a number of years. But will he be able to do it when the lights are the brightest in a game 3? So Stanley coming in and saying the Mets relievers caused this loss. Look, it's Buto. Just no. At this, just no. That's all I can really say on Buto. And I think Edwin's tired. I really do. The day off helps, but I think he's beat. And that's why it's almost as if this team's got to score runs to almost allow us to not use him. But again, these games matter. And if it's close, he's going to be put back out there because he's your best guy. He is. I like what I've seen from Stanek as well. So I think he's someone that they're gonna use heavily on the back end too. I think he's a guy that you'll definitely see on Tuesday in big spots. But it sucks. It sucks. There's no other way to really put it. It sucks that it ended the way that it did, but you still walk away with a split. Should be 2 wins. You walk away with a split, and you leave that building. Knowing, like I always felt like this team knows that they belong. It's everyone else that thinks that they don't belong, but this team already knows that they belong here. This team isn't shying away from the moment. They're thriving in the moment. At least the offense did today. They're thriving in that moment. The pitching wasn't able to execute in spots today, which is why it gave the Phils life. Execute, hit your spots, and you win ball games. Simple as that. But you have to execute. That's the biggest thing here. The pitching from Severino to Harper, from Severino to Castellanos, from Diaz to Stott. The thought process behind the Diaz to Harper at bat when nobody was on, that could be spoken about. Things could be said there. And then, of course, McGill hanging that pitch to Castellanos. Last team up. Last team to score. Game over. Sucks. Sucks. But this team belongs. They know it, and the Phils know it. I think game 1, the Phils thought that they were going to roll over these Mets, and it didn't happen. And then they got punched in the mouth for 6 innings before they decided to finally wake up. They know they're in a fight. The Mets have been in a fight for the last 3 weeks. They're battle tested. They're moving. The Phils have the experience of the playoffs. But these Mets have been fighting for 3 weeks. I don't expect this to be a changing moment like some have said. I don't believe that because the Phils won this game, that automatically means, oh, God, the Phils are going to win the next 2 and it's over. They're going to be celebrating in Citi. Like, no, that's not what I think at all. They know that they have to come ready to play. They do, because they know these Mets don't quit. They know that this team is capable of executing because they did it game 1. They weren't able to do it game 2. And they know that corrections will be made. Maybe a couple changes here and there. Nothing serious. But they know that they're going to become ready to play some ball. A much-needed rest, a much-needed off day. And come back for 2 big games are going to be big at Citi. Steph, what do you mean? The idiot announcers said what you just quoted. What did I just quote? I'm sorry, I'm speaking so much. I'm so used to playing off of someone that I'm not even sure what I just said. But yeah, just let me know in the comments, and I'll make sure I bring it up. Hey, Maureen's in the chat. Good to see you, Maureen. Always a pleasure. I know you say you got back from work. Just got home from work. Hopefully, work treated you well. Hopefully, it treated you better than that ending to the Met game. I hope. Either way, welcome. It's always a pleasure. My main man David agreeing that Diaz is a little bit burned out. I think he is. I think he's a little burnt out right now. But the sad part is he's not going to get that much rest. It's not going to be that much rest unless the offense explodes. The offense is going to have to explode for a big game and a big win so he doesn't have to throw. That's what's going to matter the most. It really is. Stanley said the Mets have home field advantage now. Hey, you got 2 here, man. You got 2. Can you win 2 in a row? Can you beat the Phillies twice in your own building? You did it a couple weeks ago. Can you do it again? You won game 1. What was it? They lost game 1. I'm trying to remember how that went. Was it win? Was it win, loss, win? Whatever it was, like that. You've done it before. Can you do it again? Can you do it when it really matters? Maureen, I'm okay with the split. We just need to kick some butt at home. I still believe in this team. As you should, Maureen. As you should. Steph coming and saying that Gary Cohen said the last 100 games have been must-win for the Mets, so they are used to it. 100%. 100%. Oh, thank you. So the momentum change, that's where I heard it. Yes, you're right. That's exactly where I'm not believing that. I refuse to. Yeah, I don't believe that. I don't. It doesn't mean anything. Well, I should say it doesn't mean anything because 1-1 is a lot better for the Phils as opposed to 2-0. But I'm not saying that means that the Mets are just going to roll over and quit. That's not who they are. That's not what they've been for the last month. For the last 100 games, really, as Steph said, what Gary was saying. It's that's not in their nature. They know that people think that they're not supposed to be. They're going to fight tooth and nail to the very end. They did it again today. They just weren't the last ones up. Confidence isn't going anywhere. No shot. They know they belong. 1,000%. As my main man Brad says, hit the thumbs up, hit the like on the video, subscribe to the channel. 138 of you here are 138 of you are here right now, and I appreciate each and every one of you. A majority of you are over on the X side, which is fine. I don't mind that. But if you are, why don't you head on over to YouTube, subscribe to the channel, like the video. We're live every Wednesday, 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard. Today, I'm here later. It's a Sunday, but I'm going to be closing up soon and finishing up. I just want to hop on real quick to say a couple of things and chat with some of you. But I think I got a majority of what I wanted to get out. And again, it's 40-something minutes, which is a much abbreviated version of the show. But that's all that was really needed for this one, especially after a loss. But I do think that we got a majority of the things out there in the open. So shout out to you, David. At least I'll be there for game 4. I hope we can clinch it. Hope we can clinch it there. Shout out to you. I hope you and your son have an awesome time. Nothing beats playoff baseball at Citi Field. It's incredible. So take in every moment. Buy the drinks if that's what you do. If you take in beverages, buy the drinks. Buy a shirt. Buy something. Enjoy yourself. Take in the energy because nothing beats playoff October baseball at Citi Field. It is a drug. It is a high that I constantly chase when it comes to this team. Good to see the Stevie Mack is in the building. Good to see you, brother. He's blasting Chumbawamba. Hey, do what you got to do, man. Do what you got to do. Stevie Mack's out there, but he's my guy. He's my guy. He's out there because he knows I'm out there a little bit too, based off of the memes that we exchange. But you do what you got to do, brother. Anything to bring the energy for this team. Brad saying that JD Martinez needs to produce. I agree. I think you're going to be seeing him in spots. Didn't really happen today. I don't know. Well, then again, I got to see the numbers. for Martinez against Nola if he would be in the lineup again. I don't know if he would be, but we'll see once. I'll actually look it up after I'm done here to get an idea if he'll be in the lineup again on Tuesday. Scrolling through. David, thank you, brother. I will definitely do all of that. Just no alcohol. I don't drink. Hey, that's fine. That is fine. Hey, guess what? You're saving yourself a lot of money. A lot of money. Because if you want to drink a beer, you're paying $18, $20. So good for you. You don't drink, good for you. You're saving yourself some cash in the end. But either way, buy a soda, buy an overpriced water, do what you gotta do to stay well hydrated and be ready to cheer, because that place is going to be red hot on Wednesday and when you're there as well on Thursday. Yes, Steph. Nola's going to be going on Tuesday. So it should be Manaea versus Nola on Tuesday. It's a heavyweight matchup, man. It's a heavyweight matchup. So I'm hoping the boys, get that rest and they're ready to bounce back. And I think they will be. They were bouncing back today. You can never count this team out, ever. And the Phils know that. Thompson said that. He goes, when they're down, you got to punch them and beat them while they're down. You can't let them get back up. And they let them get back up multiple times today. McGill just hung that one pitch. Didn't execute on that one freaking pitch. I really wanted that game. I really did. I wanted that really badly. But as angry as I am, as angry as all of you are, you best believe that those New York Mets got a fire lit under them. They know what they're in. They know they're going back home, and they are ready to show out for each and every one of you that are here with me right now. And everyone that was actually able to afford, shout out to you, David, that were actually able to afford those tickets to get into the building. They're going to play out, and they're going to bust their ass for each and every one of them as well. Before I get out of here, I do want to show some love and support for our people over at Independent Safes. IndependentSafes.com. Independent Safes is protecting homes and businesses with secure residential and commercial safes, fireproof peace of mind in every corner. Visit IndependentSafes.com today for security that stands strong. And as always, Independent Safes is hooking you up with free shipping, $99 and over. That's everything that you get over at Independent Safes. Everything is $99. So you tell them that we sent you. Tell them, hey, I heard about you guys from Til Mets. They'll take care of you. They'll hook it up. $99 and over. IndependentSafes.com. Do I want to put anybody in the safe? Tyler McGill? I guess I got to put Tyler in the safe, mainly because he hung that pitch. But there's a lot of guys I could put in the safe for missed execution on things. I'll tell you who's not going in. Mark Vientos is not going to go in. Provided way too much for the team today. Yes, he had the bobble. Yes, that gave that 6 run, but he put you in a spot to win. He gave you hope for a chance to win. So it's not going to be him. So maybe I'll put Tyler in the safe for today. Stevie Mack saying he might put himself in an independent safe. Hey, man. I know some people just don't have the nerves or the stomach to watch these games. It's tough. My God, from the 7th inning, I felt like I was going to throw up. I did. But I was in on every pitch. I didn't leave. I was in on every pitch. But to say that I didn't feel like throwing up would be a lie, because I did a lot of times. I know Aunt Rivera, Subway to Shea, also was feeling that same way. And I'm not sure if he's doing anything tonight, but if he is, make sure you go over there and support his stuff, whether it's a space on X listening. He's been doing a lot of them with Mike Silva over at Talking Mets No G. So they do a great job. It's always a fun listen. So if they're doing anything tonight, make sure you support those guys as well, whether they are live on YouTube or a space on X. Shout out to them. David wants to throw Ottavino in the safe and throw away the key. Hey, Ottavino's been in one. at the bottom of the river. No one knows where the key is. I'm not telling them. So I better not see Adam Ottavino. If put it this way, if we get Adam Ottavino innings at all moving forward, there's a problem because we do not need to see him. Do not need to see Adam Ottavino, not at all. But shout out to our main people, main sponsor, one of our main sponsors, over at Manscaped. It's over in the corner right there. You can use the promo code still TMDUP at checkout. When it comes to Manscaped, you get 20% off and free shipping when you use our promo code TMDUP at checkout over at Manscaped. You can get anything and everything that you want. They got the crop preserver. They got the crop soother. They got all kinds of ball deodorants. They got the weed whacker for your nose. They got the lawnmower 5.0 Ultra. They got things. They got scalp shavers. They got scalp cleaners. They got everything that you need from a manscaping perspective. Check them out. You don't manscape? Think about it. Look around. Something might catch your eye. Manscaped.com. Check out their stuff. Whatever you get, you put it in the cart. You go to checkout. You put in the promo code TMDUP, like it says right there. TMDUP, 20% off, free shipping. Everyone likes when things are discounted because everything is overpriced. Doesn't matter where you shop. So when you get that promo code, make sure you use it. Tell them that Til Mets sent you, and we will take care of you as long as we are partnered with our good friends over at manscaped.com. Stevie Mac, send the Mets some ball crop preserver. Hey, man, I got you right here. Got the crop preserver right here. Great product. There you go. Good to have. Thank you all. Armand, you are clearly earning your status as the status station for TMDUP, for Til Mets Do Us Part. I love it. Armand, shout out to you, everyone. JD Martinez is 3 for 19 with 1 RBI in 21 at-bats against Nola in his career. I do not expect JD Martinez to be in the lineup on Tuesday. I do not think he will. So I appreciate you, Armand, for getting me those stats quickly. It's much, much appreciated because now I have an idea as to how things will go. That being said, I'm going to get out of here. It's been 52 minutes. So, yes, I can see Winker, definitely. But hopefully, next time we get back on here, we will have some better things to break down when it comes to the team. So, having said all of that, I hope you all have a great night. Let's go Mets. We let one get away here, but we're back on Tuesday, and hopefully we can get back up in the series 2-1. All that being said, have a great night, everyone. Let's go Mets, and I am out.